Hey everyone, I'm Avram here again for AE Tuts Plus, and today we're going to create wire text created with particular. So let's first have a quick preview. Okay, so that was pretty cool, and to create it, it's actually fairly simple process. So let's first start by creating a new composition. HD TV 720x25 frame rate should be fine, and we'll call it main comp. Let me just create a folder for it. Okay, and now let's see. First, let's start by creating text, just a simple text. AE Tuts Plus. That's leftovers from my previous tutorial. You have to excuse me. Let's make it white. Okay. And we don't need any outlines. I would like to use a very distinct font. Let's increase the tracking. A more thin font might actually be better in this case. Okay, let's set it in the middle. Great. Let's create a new null object, make it a 3D layer, and let's rename this actually null1 is fine. Just 001 should be better. And now let's create a new solid, doesn't matter which color, and apply to it particular. Okay, let's start messing around here. Let's first rename this layer to particular 001 as well. And let's see, let's go to the let's keyframe the position XY and position Z, and hit U on the layer and delete those. That way we just isolated the position XY and Z. A very cool trick which I recently learned in a tutorial by Harry Frank. And let's hit P on the null object and alt click on the stopwatch next to the position XY and pick whip it to the position of the null, and do the same for the position Z and pick whip it to the Z value of the position. Okay, so now our particular is connected to the null object. Very cool. Let's see, let's set the velocity, everything, set it everything to 0. Let's place the null object somewhere around here. Set a keyframe for it. We don't need to see this one anymore. Let's go to 1 second later and drag our null object to the top of the A, and 1 second later move it somewhere around here, or maybe even let's take this point and move it just above over here or something like that. And let's go 1 second later and move the null object somewhere around here. 1 second later we'll move it here, and 1 second later we'll move it somewhere around here. Now 5 seconds is way too long for this kind of process, so let's say that from this point to this point it should be 5 frames, something like that. Make it 10 frames. Give it 1 second, and 10 frames later to reach this point. Drag these two here. This will be better. Great. So now we've got this very linear line, which isn't that exciting. So let's see if we can make it a bit more exciting than it is right now. hit G on the keyboard to get the pen tool. And now let's alt click on these spots, just the two top ones and the two bottom ones, to get these handles, so we can adjust the line to make it a bit more organic. And let's shorten this one as well, and this one here. Okay, so now we got a better look for it. First, we can see that the line is ending way too soon. Let's set the life course to I don't know, like 25 seconds, something like that. Okay, so now it stays there. Great. And the size is again too big, so let's set it to 1. Actually, 1 looks great. Okay, and there's not enough particles there, so let's increase the particle amount to 500 maybe. Yeah. Right now our line is pretty much static. To make it jiggle a bit, let's move over to physics and down to air and to turbulence field. Let's actually increase this part. Now let's see. Let's set the effect position to 20 and the scale to 15. What we've got here is a nice little jiggle from the string, which doesn't make it move out of its place too much. Now it's time to rinse and repeat. Let's duplicate these two and hit U on the particular 002, adjust the expression, adjust it to null 002. Okay, let's hit U to reveal the position, and let's move the end position to somewhere around here. Let's see, let's move the bezier handles. Make it try to make it a bit more interesting. Okay, and this one, let's put here. Okay. And if it gets a bit too linear, we need to set the emitters position subframe from linear to 10 times linear, and that will take care of that. And actually, let's do the same for this one. Let's actually get rid of the text here for a second, and let's create a new camera just so we can spin around here for a second. And let's see, we can see the position of the wires is a bit too close. So let's go to again to physics, air, turbulence field, and I'm looking for evolution offset, and I want to write an expression for it. I'll click on the stopwatch and hit value plus open parentheses index. Index, by the way, is the I know. Index is the number next to the layer, so index will mean actually the number 2 times 100 and close parentheses. So now they won't all jiggle at the same rate and the same position. Let's erase the camera, and actually let's copy this expression. Go to edit, copy expression only, and paste it to particular 1. And now all we need to do is repeat the process. Okay, so that's the basic idea of how to create this wire text. Before we continue on to the next part of this tutorial, I would like to give you some tips and tricks on how to make your life easy working with this sort of composition. Pretty soon you'll find your composition is filled with loads of layers, especially if you plan to do more than one simple word. So to keep things organized, I suggest that you'll give each character a different color. So for instance, the A will be in yellow color, and so on and so forth. And more than that, make sure you name the layer with the letter it's creating. So this one will be A, and as well as this one and this one. Okay, now you have all the tools to create the wire text, so go ahead and do that, and I'll skip to the next part of this tutorial. Okay, so now that we're all set and done with the letters, we've got a whole lot of layers going on. You can see here there's quite a bit of layers. Next, what we want to do is create a small camera animation, and this particular composition is very heavy to render, so to do a little trial and error with our camera animation, we'll use just the A-Tuts text layer and isolate it, and let's make it a 3D layer as well. Now let's create a new camera, make it 35mm, okay, and now let's create a new null object, rename it to cam null, make it a 3D layer as well, and connect the camera to it. So now the cam null and the A-Tuts text layer are in the exact same position, so the camera will rotate around the A-Tuts plus text layer. So let's hit R, go to frame 0, and let's see, we want to rotate on the Y-axis mainly, maybe somewhat on the Z-axis as well, just a bit. Okay, maybe a tad more. Okay, and mark them both, keyframe them, and let's go to 15 seconds and rotate to maybe 1. Okay, this should be fine. Mark all of the keyframes, right click on one of them and go to keyframe assistant, easy ease. Now let's focus on this part for a second. I would like to have the letters emit not all in the same time, but one after the other in a random motion. So let's say that the A would start at 2 seconds mark, and T would start at 4 seconds, and plus would start somewhere around here. S could start at 0, let's say this one will start here, U, and this one will start here, and E would start at this point. Okay, great. So we get some randomness in the emitting letters. Okay, and now I would highly recommend to pre-render this particular animation in a PNG sequence format with an alpha channel, and then continue on to the next part of the tutorial. As I said before, this composition is very heavy on whatever machine you've got. So go ahead and render the particular layers and not the text layer, of course, and I'll see you right after that. Okay, so I've rendered the sequence out, imported it back to After Effects and isolated it, and if I scroll down the timeline you can see how it goes. Oh, very nice. Next, what we want to do is create another particular layer. Let's create a new solid. For this particular layer we're going to use a preset, a very common one called Starfield, and one Starfield static, but this one. And remember, we still have our camera applied, so we get this motion, and let's adjust it a bit. Let's go to emit U to see we're emitting 10,000. Let's decrease it to 5,000. Let's see how that looks. And go to particle and decrease the size to 0.1. So I want really small particles. And set the sphere feather to 0. And that's just about it. Right. Only thing is, we want to drag these keyframes to start before our animation begins, so let's drag the entire layer just about here and increase it. Okay, So now we've got a greater sensation of depth of field. And speak of the devil, let's add some depth of field. Just like in my previous tutorial, I want to create a depth of field using the lens blur effect. So first let's create a depth of field map, create a new composition, and call it depth of field map, and this is going to be as simple as possible. Let's create a new solid, make it black, entirely black. Remember, a black will mean no blur at all, and white will mean 100% blurred out. So let's apply a very nice little effect called circle. Let's go to feather and feather it out way out there. Let's increase the radius size, and let's decrease the feather out radius, feather outer edge, sorry. Okay, so everything within this white circle will be blurred out, and everything outside of it will be in focus. So let's create a keyframe for it at frame 0, and in 15 seconds mark we'll drag it here. Okay, so that's our depth map, very simple. Let's drag it in here, and we don't need to see it. Let's create a new adjustment layer. We'll call this one depth of field, and we'll call this one stars, just to give things in order. And now let's apply lens blur, and we're going to use depth map layer, which will be our depth of field map. But depth map isn't covering the entire area, which I think it should, so let's increase the radius and decrease the feather. Okay, not too much. Let's see how that looks. Okay, and let's set the animation to be less radical. We want to start over here and end around here. Okay, this should be fine. Let's set the iris shape to heptagon, get a more complex shapes out of it. The iris radius, let's set it to 20, and let's increase the feather even more and decrease the radius just a tad. Much better, much better. Our animation is almost entirely complete. Let's add a glow effect to our wire text. Okay, and let's see. Decrease the glow threshold and increase the glow radius, and increase the glow intensity to somewhere around 3, should be fine. And let's decrease the glow radius, 16 should be fine. And to really blow it out, let's duplicate this glow, but first let's decrease it to 2 and then duplicate it, and we'll get a real nice glow. Okay, and so to wrap it up, let's color the wire text using fill, and just make sure it's before the glow effects, and just look at it. How amazing is that? And I think I used some kind of purple. And well, that's just about it. Folks, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I've been happy to see you for these last 20 minutes or so. My name is Rahman Avraham, and I'll see you next time.